Hey guys, Ben Ramirez here with Go Rhino. Just purchased a new BR bumper for your 1500 Silverado, 2016 and current. Stick around while we go over a quick video of how to do an install. Thanks. Hey guys, thanks for joining us today. So today we're going to be doing an install on a 16 and newer Chevy Silverado. We're going to be installing our BR series front bumper. Now before we begin, you want to make sure that you review the installation guide to make sure that all the parts you have necessary for the install are accounted for, and in addition, check that you have all the tools that are going to be necessary to do this install. We're going to just touch base quickly on some of the basic steps to get started with the install. First thing you want to do is you're going to want to disconnect the battery. That way we can safely start disconnecting our fog lights and our park assist sensors if your vehicle is equipped with it. The second step you're going to want to do after you disconnect the battery is you have 12 pop rivets that come right up. You're going to want to remove this upper radiator panel. Once this is removed, it'll expose 4 bolts that will allow you to remove the center grille. So those 4 bolts are going to be removed, and then you're going to want to pull the center section of the bumper of the grille off. And then once you get that out of the way, then we're ready to proceed to the next step. Okay guys, so we went ahead and disconnected the battery, we removed our upper radiator cover, and we went ahead and removed the 4 bolts that I mentioned to you. Now we're ready to remove the center grille. Now you're going to want to do this you're going to alternate sides. You're going to go pull from the bottom area here, pull it out, and then on the other side pull it out. And you do want to exercise some caution because you don't want to break any of the plastic clips that hold the grill in place. Okay guys, so now we're going to get ready to move along to the next step. We're going to remove the outer support bumper bars. There will be 2 that we're removing. In this case, we're going to be removing the passenger side. You're going to want to use a 50mm socket to remove it. And you're going to want to repeat the same thing to the other side. You want to put these aside because we're going to go back and use these when we get ready to install our new bumper. Now we're ready to move on to our next step. We went ahead and removed the outer bumper support braces, and now we're ready to remove our front bumper. We've already disconnected the harness for our fog lights, so now we're just going to remove the 4 main bolts that hold our factory bumper to our frame. You're going to use a 18mm socket to reach them, and once you have them removed, you want to go ahead and have someone help you remove it. Remove your factory bumper, that way we don't damage it. Okay, so we're going to get ready to go into the next step. Okay guys, so we went ahead and removed our factory bumper, and we're almost getting ready to install our bumper. But in order to do so, we need to remove our factory bumper mounts. Now before we begin, if you do have factory tow hooks, you'll notice that this particular vehicle that we're working on does not have them. You're going to want to remove this as well. There'll be 2 bolts on the on this driver's side, they're going to be on the inward side of the frame. You're going to want to remove those and also remove these 3 bolts here. You're going to use a 15mm socket to remove them. In addition, I do want to point out that if you do have tow hooks, you will lose those. Those don't get carried over in the install. So now that they're removed, we're ready to go on the next step, which includes installing our brackets, and then we can install our BR bumper. Okay guys, so we've already got our factory bumper fully removed. We went ahead and removed our factory bumper mounts, and for the sake of this install, we went ahead and reinstalled our factory grille and our factory radiator dust cover. We went ahead and pre-installed the driver's side brackets, but we're going to show you how to do it on the passenger side. There's 3 brackets that we need to install. One's going to be the main bumper bracket, and then we're going to have a auxiliary bracket, and in addition we're going to have a auxiliary support bracket. Okay, so the first one you want to install is the main bumper bracket. As we discussed previously, that you're going to want to use the factory bumper bracket bolts. Now I'm just going to thread everything in just to kind of keep it in place. Okay. Now the auxiliary bracket, you're going to want to use the supply T-plate. It goes on the inside of the frame rail. Use our hardware we supplied. Use a flat washer, a lock washer, and bolt. And now we're going to install the auxiliary support bracket. You want to make sure you use the paired T-plate that goes inside the frame rail as well. And then so now the next step is we're going to install the carriage bolts to tie this together. Threads go down. Now I've got all my main brackets installed on the truck, and now we're ready to install our winch tray. Okay guys, so we've already got our bumper brackets installed. I went ahead and finger tightened everything. That way I have a little bit of play to get ready to install our winch tray. We're gonna use 2 hex head bolts on the main bracket, and then we're gonna use 3 carriage bolts on the auxiliary bracket, okay? You're gonna wanna slide that in there. I'm gonna go ahead and install the carriage bolts, thread side down. And then use the supplied hardware. So I've got this side down already, and you're going to want to go ahead and repeat the same process for the driver's side. Okay guys, so now we went ahead and installed our winch tray. Now at this point, if you're going to install a aftermarket winch, you want to take the opportunity to do so right now. Reason is you're not going to be able to install it after you install your bumper, so this is the time to do it. You will notice that we have this provision back here. If the control box on whichever winch you decide to go with doesn't fit the bumper, you're gonna have to relocate that back here, okay? And before you proceed to doing the install, you wanna take this opportunity to tape off the D-ring hooks here. This way you prevent any scuffing or damaging your new bumper before you do the install. Now, before we begin, you also wanna make sure that you don't install the fair lead. You know, you're gonna do that on the bumper cover, okay? So with assistance, we're going to go ahead and install this bumper. Now that we have the bumper on, you want to make sure that the side mesh covers are off, because this is the access point you're going to use to install the bolts to secure it to the winch tray. once I have this side done on, then you're going to go ahead and repeat the same process for the driver's side. Okay guys, so we got our bumper cover installed, and we went ahead and tightened up all the bolts and made all the adjustments we need to get this bumper to sit nice, square, and flush. Now the last thing we need to do is install the outer support braces that we initially removed at the beginning of the install, okay? So as mentioned, that we retain the existing hardware when we go back to install this. And then we're going to install the upper bolt for the outer section. So now that I have this installed, we go ahead and fasten it down, and we repeat the same process for the driver's side. Okay guys, so we've already got our bumper installed. We went ahead and installed our outer support braces, the factory ones, and now the bumper is already square and level and exactly where I wanted it. So we're almost ready to finish up this install. Now at this point, you want to go ahead and install the outer mesh plates. And go right here. As you can see, we've already installed the driver's side. And then finally, you're going to want to install the front receiver cover. Slide that in there. Now, you'll notice that we left provisions here for a license plate if you decide to use a winch. If you don't use that, we also have a relocation bracket that you can use. You can alternate depending on what your preference is. Now, just a quick note, you'll see that the fender liner here is overhanging. You do have the option if you desire to trim that, so it kind of keeps with the shape and contour of the bumper. And once you have all that done, your bumper is pretty much installed. Thanks again for joining us. For more videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel for new updates, new product releases, and of course, new install videos. Thanks.